Alright guys, it is time for Meetulous 2010. Thank you for tuning in, I guess, into our Justin.tv feed. So Meetulous, we hosted this last year. It's kind of like Hackulous's version of WWDC. We're just gonna unveil a bunch of projects, make a few announcements. We're really excited about some of the stuff we get to show you guys today. A few of the things we're releasing today, some of it we're releasing over the course of the next week, some of it over the course of the next month, and there's one thing in particular which I'll go into detail in a few minutes that we may never release. We don't know yet. Okay, so we hosted this last year and there was a lot of drama at the time, and we were kind of skeptical of the future of Hackulous and App Tracker and a lot of other stuff. And now I'm just really happy to say that we are much on task now and stable, and everything is working great. Installous is installed on like 8 to 9 million devices. App Tracker gets somewhere between 10 and 11 million unique users a month. It's just great. So we're doing really good, and we're really happy about it. We're happy about the participation in the community. We're happy about all the people who... we're happy about being a home to so many reverse engineers in the community, which just blow me out of the water a lot of times. So thank you for tuning in, everybody, and I'll jump right in now. So here we go. The first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today is Clutch 1.1. And Clutch 1.1, as you know, or as you may know, Clutch is a cracking utility that we created for Hackulous's official Crackulous utility, and we created it to make sure that the community had something really fast and really effective for cracking. And there's quite a few new features that we're adding today. Fixed memory leaks, new metadata fields that Apple added that we need to support. We have now slightly faster dumping, which I'll show in the next slide, or actually in a little bit. We have some old firmware compatibility, which means for 2.x firmwares. Multi-crack is much better. A lot of people are having issues with cracking multiple applications at once, and I fixed those issues, hopefully. And also, we added a new menu, a number menu that Weiss wanted to add, and hopefully you guys like that as well. And we added some modification time retaining, so that applications that try to detect if they are if they've been modified in some way on the file system, they can't do that, so they can't be self-aware. So that's just one thing that we were requested to do. And there's also another feature that we're adding to Clutch, which I'll go into in a little bit. So here are some benchmarks that show PO'd crack mod versus Clutch 1.0.5 and Clutch 1.1. As you can see, Clutch 1.1 is just a sliver faster, and obviously it's the fastest out there by far, and even with all these modifications, which is really great. One of the big things that I did with Clutch was I improved our dumping and cracking utilities that are built into it, so that they were much faster, much more memory efficient, and were didn't cause any issues with compression and stuff like that later on. So Clutch is much faster now. This doesn't take into account, however, a new feature that we're going to add, and this is almost another project in itself. It's called Overdrive. And what Overdrive is a binary injection and code cave engine that we're creating. It's sort of our replacement of, if you guys are familiar with PO'd crack mod, which has a lamer patcher, I think it's called. Ristignet made it. It's not very effective for cracking a lot of things, so we made Overdrive, which actually injects into the binary and is capable of preventing the binary from being self-aware in many ways. It's almost done, and we plan to release it sometime around Christmas. Here's our release schedule. Clutch 1.1 RC1 is being released tonight, and it adds all those new features. And on Christmas, we're going to be releasing Clutch 1.1 RC2 with overdrive. This is just our tentative schedule. We don't. It could be until New Year's. We're not sure, but that's really those two release candidates are sometime this month, hopefully. So that's Clutch. And the next thing I wanted to talk about with you guys is Kickback. So as you guys might know, Apple's releasing a Mac App Store, and we aren't just gonna sit on our asses. We haven't been. So we did make a cracking utility for Mac applications, which we've tested on Mac applications, and the App Store hasn't even been released yet on encrypted Mac applications. And we already have utility ready. We have to make some modifications to make it so that it works with our package structure. But for the most part, we already have something which cracks Mac apps. But there's some issues with this. And we don't want to release Kickback as soon as the store gets released. And I have a few reasons for that. The platform introduction will be harmed badly if we release Kickback as soon as the Mac App Store is released. Apple's going to be extremely angry that not only is a distribution mechanism already out there, App Tracker, but there's also a cracking mechanism already as soon as the platform gets released. So we're not going to release Kickback until well after the store has been established, well after developers have gotten their applications up. We don't want to devalue applications and frustrate developers. In addition, most of the first applications that go on the Mac App Store will be decent, will be pretty good. Apple isn't going to put crap on the App Store as soon as it gets released. It'll probably take months for the App Store to actually have much of crappy applications. And when we feel like it has a lot of crap in it, we'll probably release Kickback. There's a chance that Apple doesn't even add any crappy applications for the most part, which would be great. And nobody would really get ripped off, so there's no purpose of cracking apps if there's no trials. And we stick with our agenda. We're not supporting full-out piracy. We want to allow people to try applications, and if they try applications as soon as the store starts, it could devalue them and harm the developer community and piss Apple off a lot, and we're not interested in doing that. So we're not sure when Kickback's being released, but hopefully sometime maybe in February. We're not sure, but we're ready to release it anytime it's necessary. So that's Kickback. And the big thing that a lot of you guys are familiar with, I've been talking about a few things that you guys probably have no clue what I'm talking about, but the big thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today is Installous 4, and it's come a long way since Installous 2.0.4. It really has, and we're really glad to introduce a bunch of graphic changes. Here's a screenshot of it. It has a new color theme and a new tab bar and a bunch of other things like that. We've rearranged the user interface and changed it a lot, so that it's nice and intuitive. Has a lot of new features in it for using it, and we're also going to be adding a home screen. This isn't added yet, but it's probably going to be added next week sometime. Doc Morelli and I are not sure how we're going to use set up the format between App Tracker and Installous for the home screen, but it'll look something like this, and kind of like the Cydia home screen, if you're familiar with that. We'll have something like that for Installous, so we can push out news and other stuff like that. So that's Installous 4. Tons of graphic changes, tons of feature additions and stuff like that. So this is actually being released today to our donators, to Advancements, who are beta testers. So anybody who's donated automatically will get Installous 4 sometime tonight. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Try to find some bugs in it, see if it's ready for release. So thank you very much for donating, and this is your gift. And we have some more gifts for you a little bit later too. But there's also another thing with Installous other than just the graphic changes that we've added. And this is probably one of the big things that we wanted to announce today. This is pretty much the reason why we wanted to make a Meetulous, well, why we wanted to present Meetulous this year. The big thing here. It's called Mobile Hunt. And what Mobile Hunt is something we've been working on since September. And what it is, it's sort of like a reverse torrent, in a way. Lots of people have applications on their iPhones and iPod Touches and iPads that allow you to, or that App Tracker doesn't have. And we want App Tracker to have those applications. So the only way to get them on is for either these people to go and get Clutch or something like that and try to crack it. And there's a lot of people that don't know about this. They don't know about cracking. They don't know about patching, testing, uploading, submitting. But there's millions of people who use Installous. We wanted a way to integrate cracking into Installous, but make it easy for you to use. And that's what Mobile Hunt is. Essentially, what will happen is, when you're using Installous, and you can turn this off by the way, but when you're using Installous, you'll get a little pop-up that says, hey, you have an application that App Tracker doesn't. And we will add the application to a queue in the background if you say yes. And it will start uploading tiny pieces of it, kind of like a torrent, to our up to the cloud, pretty much. And everyone else that has that same application will be uploading tiny parts randomly to our servers until we collect the huge portion of the application, including the binary, which means that we get to collect the application, keep pieces that don't change and stuff like that on applications, and it allows us